Hello, I'm Frank Russo.
And I'm Connor Sensenig.
And for this month, we're representing Hempfield Happenings, a student-run news show from the communication program at Hempfield High School.
This month's news show is complete with topics ranging from
a look deeper into what and what not to recycle,
the struggle of professional athletes,
and a local business that does things a little bit different.
You're watching Hempfield Happenings. Our first story, reported by Ava Keller, is about how Lancaster community members relate experiences with displaced refugees.
Lancaster City is known as one of the most refugee-populated cities by per capita in the country. Due to the rising political climate, this remains a controversial humanitarian topic. Many refugees have been resettled into the country. However, the amount as of recently has been dipping.
Lancaster County resettles 20 times more refugees per capita than any other city in the United States. But that has changed right now. In the past 2 years, the refugee resettlement has drastically dropped. What that means for the community is that we have people coming to our neighborhoods and in our communities, and we really have to make them feel welcome and give them a sense of belonging.
In order for these people to feel like they belong, it's important for the community they have settled in to accept them through understanding and empathy.
It's just all about acceptance, and I feel like people sometimes, if they judge people before they understand what they've had to go through. And it's all about just coming together no matter what your background is.
I think that how other people talk with them in the media also makes a big impact on what people think when they come into their area, or when they're other people are trying to help them. So I think politically it makes a larger impact than most people think.
Right now it's been politicized. What that means for at least refugees is that you are really given an opportunity for hate. People need to know, and people need to hear these stories, and people need to understand that we're just nice people with some accents.
Through understanding the stories these refugees have to offer, each person in the community can grow closer and flourish. From Hempfield Happenings, I'm Ava Keller.
The comprehensive plan is a blueprint for the entire Hempfield School District. Brandon Kanke spoke to administration about what this plan is and how they have changed it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The Pledge of Allegiance is just one of thousands of topics touched on in Hempfield's comprehensive plan, and a new one was contrived just a few months ago in this very room. Administrators have met at the admin building to evaluate past comprehensive plans, which affected almost every aspect of a day at Hempfield.
So a comprehensive plan is more of a roadmap for a school district that really outlines goals and strategies and implementation steps for a district to follow for a 3-year period of time. But the most important part of a comprehensive plan is that it really drives what a district does in terms of programming and or some decision making in a school district.
But how can administrators alone change a blueprint for running the entire district? For this new plan, the committee consisted of a diverse group of representatives that could speak for all of those affected by the new plan.
So I was initially contacted in May about being a part of this group, and so we met at the administration building, and when I came in, it was really neat because there were representation from many different groups that were there. So there were teachers from the elementary schools, there were teachers from the middle schools, there were teachers from the high school, there were administrators from all of those different levels, there were school board members, there were parents there were students there from all different levels. We also had business leaders in the community who have some close connections with the district. And so it was a chance for a lot of different voices to be heard in the making of this plan.
Mr. Bromersky reached out to involved Hempfield students of all ages to assist the administration in the making of the new plan.
I really did enjoy sitting with this committee. I found a lot of great experience within working with people within the community as well as people within the district and other students and administrators and just staff of Hempfield, and everybody just coming together. We often work with teachers and administrators. That was just really cool to be able to work with different business owners and just concerned people within the community and put all of our ideas together.
Not only was it advantageous to have students working together with teachers, administrators, and community members, but students also benefited from the changes in the comprehensive plan.
So our comprehensive plan focuses for all students K-12, and so I would say the biggest focus in this plan is really working to ensure that there's opportunities or pathways for our students all the way through the K-12 system and then beyond. We want students to be able to be competitive with whatever they're looking to do.
Although student success is a prominent topic of the new plan, the safety of everyone in the school, along with how the district reaches out to the community, are also enhanced.
But I know that one of the things that came up quite a bit in our reducing barriers part of the comprehensive plan, obviously safety is a very big issue right now. The reducing barriers element of it kind of had to take some new safety precautions into consideration. The way we involve the community in letting them know about what we're doing at the school and if they want to offer any feedback and how their feedback can be heard. So I know that they're trying to take more steps in terms of contacting the community, letting them know about what we're doing, our Twitter feed, maybe doing more documentaries that involve, how students have been impacted by their life at Hempfield and, positive steps forward that we can take based on their feedback. I know that community piece and that safety piece were definitely probably pretty different compared to some previous comprehensive plans that we've had.
The new plan does not only have direct advantages for those within the school, however. The benefits make their way all the way down to the taxpayers.
From a taxpayer standpoint, every year a school district works on developing a budget and we present that to the school board. But as we're developing the budget, we think about the goals of the comprehensive plan, the strategies and implementation steps that we mapped out for the 3 years, and we work to do some long-range budgeting to kind of think what will come in subsequent years, and ultimately then make recommendations to the school board through the budget. And if there's any type of tax increase needed, the school board would actually vote on that tax increase. It also is an impact because a comprehensive plan is really meant to drive a school district in a positive direction. And when that occurs, people then want to come to the school district. And when there's a demand for people moving into a district, it does help elevate property values.
One of the expenditures of taxpayer money for any public school district is teacher training, and the benefits of the new comprehensive plan does not leave them out either.
So it wasn't just like this particular group of students needs these supports. It actually was, well, I feel like the teachers need those supports too. Like if teachers are constantly being expected to refine what they teach and enhance what they teach and consider all the different elements like technology and common assessments and differentiated instruction, if those are all going to be part of how you grow as an educator, then maybe we need to have teachers as one of the groups that is being helped through the process of making their craft better.
If you would like to find out more about the comprehensive plan, you can check it out on Hempfield's website. For Hempfield Happenings, I'm Brandon Kankey.
Recently in Lancaster County, the recycling laws have changed. Orion Jones reached out to Lexwama to explore these laws.
Recently in Lancaster, there have been very many new changes and regulations regarding recycling. Agreement for recycling's importance is universal, but sometimes it's very difficult to put new practices into place. To get a better grasp of how to properly recycle, it is important to understand what recycling entails. And who better to ask than Lancaster's waste processor, Laxwama.
Most people think about recycling as what they put in their curbside bin, and that's actually only one part of a three-part process. So what we call sortation, what people do to put their trash in one bin and their recycling in the other, that starts in the household. From there, the materials get picked up and they're taken to what's called a materials recovery facility, or a MRF.
There, recyclables are further separated where they are in turn sold to buyers. One major issue occurs when people recycle products that can't be processed.
So wishful recycling is somebody has a product in their hand, they're done with it, they're not quite sure if it could be recycled, so they want to do the right thing and they put it in the recycling bin. That's called wishful recycling. They hope that it would be recycled. That's actually harmful to the process.
To remedy this problem, clear-cut guidelines of what can be recycled have been instituted.
All across Lancaster County, it does not matter what municipality you live in or who your hauler is who collects your trash. Everything for curbside recycling should only have the big four, and that's corrugated cardboard, plastic bottles and jugs with a neck, metal food and beverage cans, and glass bottles and jars. That is the only thing that should go in your curbside recycling bin.
However, these rules have not reached the entire community, leading to the continuation of incorrect recycling habits. Is there anything that you know that you're not allowed to recycle?
Now that I think of it, not really.
You typically recycle plastic bottles or like paper, right? Because they can be reused or whatever you do with recycling.
Basically anything. So plastic, metal, batteries.
So what should Lancastrians do in the future?
So what we like to encourage people is if it's not one of the big four, it's okay to throw it away, and we'll actually turn it into renewable energy. So in Lancaster County, we have what's called waste to energy. So we basically have a power plant that uses trash to create electricity.
With new regulations in place and people's daily habits ingrained into them, we are a whiles away before these practices will be put into place. For Hempfield Happenings, I'm Ryan Jones.
At this time last year, Hempfield's band director, Adam Gumbel, left the program. Ben Marinas reports how even with this exit, Hempfield was still able to maintain excellence with their new band director, Matthew Saracini.
Change can be difficult, but this year, Hempfield's band program showed that it doesn't have to be. Just over 1 year ago, the band members were informed that director Adam Gumbel had accepted a new job.
We had a meeting here in Hackman Auditorium. At the end of the day, we called people down. There were a lot of confusion, a lot of tears, but they also understood that it was a good career move for him, so it was a real good fit for him. They recognized that he was really well suited for the collegiate level as well as the high school level.
I was really upset because I had gotten to know Gumbel not just through that year, but I had been in marching band since 8th grade, and all my siblings had gone through marching band, so I knew him really well, so I was kind of upset when I found out that he was leaving.
I was really upset since we did get to know each other very well throughout the marching band season and the regular symphonic concert band season, so it was kind of like losing a teacher that you thought that you were going to have for 4 years of high school and figuring out that that's not what it was going to be.
I cried a little bit, but also I knew that he was going on to better things. Like in Westchester, he's more involved with bigger groups and on to do better things.
The grieving process soon transitioned into a new process as Hempfield began its search for a new director.
It was long, it was protracted, so to speak. Mr. Gumbel got a job at a college.
I'm actually very close friends with the band director who left Hempfield, and so when I heard he was leaving, I knew there was going to be a job opening.
It took a little while for us last May to get the ball rolling with interviewing candidates, and then once we did, we had about 85 applicants for the position, and we narrowed it down to 5 to interview. And then we had 2 finalists that came in and conducted a band rehearsal almost at the end of the school year last year.
There was an interview with a bunch of people from administration and Dr. Mudrick, and then after that interview they had a demonstration teaching session where students from the band actually came and played while I conducted, and we did like a lesson.
At the end of Mr. Saraceni's first year, it would be hard to look back and call it anything but a success.
I thought this year coming in was really easy, partly because the students were just so enthusiastic, and I think my enthusiasm and their enthusiasm lined up really well right away. But yeah, I felt immediate connection with the students, with the program.
I made a vow as the department supervisor to get the best possible candidate to replace him so that there would be transition and continuity for the success of the program. I am very pleased with the way things have evolved this year. He's had great relationships with kids, he's got great relationships with the Band Booster organization. He's been very favorably received by administrative team members in the district.
Change can be difficult, but 1 year later, Hempfield's band program has persevered through change to maintain its excellence. For Hempfield Happenings, I'm Ben Marinas.
The Cambodian genocide was an atrocious event that forced many Cambodians to leave their home country. Lauren Egger spoke to a Lancaster resident who was deeply impacted by this atrocity.
Between 1975 and 1979, at least 21% of Cambodia's population was killed in the Cambodian genocide.
The Khmer Rouge was responsible for killing nearly 2 million Cambodian people, and at least 20,000 known mass graves were dug for the victims.
It's been a long time, so my memory is a bit foggy, but I remember when the government was overthrown by the group Khmer Rouge. When my mom and dad died, I was probably 6 or 7. My father passed away first, so then I stayed with my mom. Then after the killings, I was arranged to go live with my grandparents in Phnom Penh. My mom went to go look for a job and never heard from her again. I'm not sure what happened to her or whether she was killed, but yeah, I'm not sure what happened.
After the Khmer Rouge overthrew the Cambodian government with the target to change them into a communist country, living there became a lot more dangerous.
They were obviously targeting more educated people, like people in the cities, people that could speak English. Those are the main people that they were targeting because they wanted to have Cambodian society turn into more like agricultural in general. So I guess in that sense, my dad was more safe, but he still wasn't safe because even then, some of like his friends and their families who were still like farmers were being targeted and killed too.
I came to the U.S. because I heard people say it was great and beautiful, and so I wanted to see it for myself. Since both my parents weren't around, I wanted to come here to work because I heard them say that there were plenty of jobs in America. I came here to make money because in Cambodia I didn't have parents, so I needed to find some way to make a living and hopefully start a family.
Growing up from an immigrant family didn't really feel any different for me, especially growing up as a kid where I just didn't know much. I felt like I really knew more about the differences when I started growing up and how I had to speak a completely different language at home than I would be at school.
History isn't just found in books, it's found in the people. For Hempfield Happenings, I'm Lauren Egger.
Baseball is America's pastime. Orion Jones talked to a local team to learn about the struggles of a professional athlete.
The world of professional athletics has long since held a special place in the hearts of Americans. But behind all the glitz and glamour in games and the large contracts being signed in the media, there's a lot of hard work and struggle. The Lancaster Barnstormers, a local independent league baseball team, have athletes that experience many hardships that come with playing professional sports, one being an arduous schedule.
In the Atlantic League, we play 140 games, 70 at home, 70 on the road. So, you know, on an average week, we're playing 3 games at home, 3 games on the road. So, usually take a bus. You know, road trips usually last between 3 to 8, 10 hours, sometimes at the most. But, you know, you play in some of the lower level leagues, in the minor leagues, you get some really strenuous bus ride stuff that's 10, 12, 14 hours.
A second hardship that many pro athletes face is low pay. With some players making $1,200 a month, money can be a struggle for many.
Off-season, some of these guys in the independent leagues, they don't get paid a lot of money, so they may have full-time jobs. Some of them I know will substitute teach. They'll also maybe do baseball lessons, pitching and hitting.
There's a lot of controversy over how much minor leaguers get paid. They compare it to minimum wage. You know, I started off making just barely enough to eat on when I was 18, 19, 20 years old. And it was really difficult. You know, I had to call my dad monthly to ask him for money. But it's really tough having to, you know, live off of just a couple $100 a month. And it's a little bit better at this league. You know, we are provided host families, so we have volunteers that will take us in and give us a room to stay in, and will cook meals for us. The minor leagues, it's a little bit different. You know, you're basically thrown into a situation where you need to find your own housing, and at times it's 5, 6, 7 guys living together in a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment.
With such low wages in season, are athletes able to work multiple jobs to cover their expenses?
Not really, unless they're, you know, doing something, you know, remote where, you know, like I said, there's not a whole lot of downtime. It's a tough lifestyle. I mean, you leave your family, you move halfway across the country to, you know, Lancaster, Pennsylvania. You don't know if you're going to be here the next day.
I think a lot of people think that just because we're out here playing in front of fans that we're making a ton of money, and in reality we're not. But, you know, a lot of people still have that desire to want to get to that high level, and that's why we're all here. You know, we all want to get out of this level, and, you know, we're one phone call away from making decent money and having a livable life.
With the struggles that many professional athletes face, it is all done truly for the love of the game. For Hempfield Happenings, I'm Orion Jones.
Crickets, rattlesnakes, and goat cheese are a few of the bizarre items available at Savory Gourmet. Ethan Miller spoke to the owners about their one-of-a-kind shop.
Here in Lidditz, PA, right down the street from the old Wilbur Chocolate Factory, sits a little store called the Savory Gourmet. And on the surface, it may seem like an ordinary shop, but take a closer look and you'll come upon a collection of curious cuisine.
So we sell exotic meats, everything from alligator to yak and everything in between. And then we have cheeses from all over the world, all different styles of cheeses.
Bill and Missy McMahon work diligently 7 days a week to serve their customers, but it wasn't always this way.
The store has been here for 12 years in Lidditz, and Miss and I, my wife, were frequent customers of the store. I come home from work one day and my wife said to me, what do you think, Bill? Should we, the Savory Gourmet, I got an email today, is for sale. Do you want to buy it? And I gave her a very firm and quick no. Not interested, I have a job, I don't have time for it. And she said, I think we should at least go in and speak to John. And I said, okay, that's fine. So we went in and went over some numbers with John, and I still wasn't convinced. I said, I don't know if I'm ready for the retail life, 7 days a week, long hours, I'm not sure if I want to do it. However, she said the magic words, which were, if we don't buy it and someone else does, how will we feel? And I said, I would be devastated. So that drove my decision and her decision to really pursue it seriously.
It was a big transition. We had never sold retail before, and there were a lot of little learning curves, and Lidditz is a great community, and the other store owners are more than happy to share their ideas and their, you know, ins and outs of how they do things. I think the biggest preparation for selling and talking about any of the meats is actually cooking them yourself. The chefs have given us clues, given us ideas. We go on a lot of websites and learn how to cook the meats, and then we've tasted everything in the case, and so I can tell you what python tastes like. I can tell you how to cook a yak steak and what pan I used and what spices. So I think the ability that we have is to try everything, to pass along what little tips we found.
Now that the Savory Gourmet is back on its feet, the McMahons strive to supply not just a product, but also an experience.
Like I said, we love a personal connection, and we can tell a story. We have the picture of our granddaughter in Ireland picking cheese with Bill in Dublin. So wherever we go, we look for cheese and we look to make the connection. And when someone comes into the store, we like to share that with them. You know, we'll tell them the story of being at the Cashel farm. We'll tell them the story of being in Spain and going to the market and seeing different manchegos, and you know, how we said, okay, this is the manchego we want to carry.
Anyone can sell meat, anyone can sell cheese. We sell that personalized passion when people walk in, it's not just what kind of cheese do you want, it's more of a interaction of, have you ever tried this kind of cheese? Or have you ever tried a beautiful goat cheese? And we also, one of the changes we put in was a sample case where we can sample every single cheese that we sell. So that's the difference between going to a chain store where you're buying it not knowing if you like it. Here, we're encouraging people to sample. I'll have people that will come in and sample 20 different cheeses, and in some cases, they'll buy 15 different cheeses.
Bill and Missy McMahon carry on the legacy of Savory Gourmet by providing customers a unique environment and unique products that are too good not to dig into. For Hempfield Happenings, I'm Ethan Miller.
AFS is a program that allows students to travel abroad. In our final story, I report on how the AFS works.
Sehr gut. Und er soll.
The American Field Service, also known as the AFS, is a non-profit organization that provides the opportunity for students to travel to foreign countries. Amber Olsen graduated in 2014 from Hempfield and traveled to Portugal through AFS during her high school experience.
It actually kind of changed everything that I thought I was doing with my life. It really opened me up to, well, first of all, it was my first time ever traveling abroad. So I had no idea what to expect or what it was like to live anywhere else other than the United States. When I went there, it was a really big culture shock.
Amber also helps volunteer within the AFS program.
So I just started volunteering, so I helped lead a trip to Philadelphia for students who came to the Susquehanna Valley area from multiple different countries. Other than that, I'm open to talking to anybody who wants any help.
A few Hempfield students are traveling to Germany through AFS this upcoming school year.
I've taken 4 years of German here at the high school, and I really want to continue with the German language. And Germany is just an amazing country with a huge culture that has so much to offer.
I mean, I thought it'd be kind of a neat idea to do like a gap year or something, but to do it for high school, it's a bit more trickier, but it's definitely going to be a little more worthwhile for me, I think.
The AFS benefits hardworking students who look to broaden their high school experience.
You just have to have the passion of learning about new cultures and experiencing the world, and you have to be willing to put yourself out there and experience something that's life-changing, honestly.
I think that it would benefit people that are, wanting to get familiar with different countries and stuff, or maybe they want to be in like politics. So, going abroad will kind of help them see the United States impact, like its sphere of influence around the world.
Everybody who meets you while you're abroad is really excited because you're learning their language, so they want to assist you in any way possible. So you're going to a place where it's usually going to be pretty friendly and pretty open to you because you want to learn from them and not expecting them to learn from you.
Sehr gut. Es ist prima, dass du kein Fernsehen schaust.
The AFS is a once-in-a-lifetime experience to help high school students decide on their future. For Hempfield Happenings, I'm Frank Russo. To hear more of these student-made stories, along with other interesting reports, tune in next month for our new episode.
Until then, I'm Connor.
And I'm Frank. Thanks for watching.